in nicely. And now our only lefty of the telecast here, Cortney Crape out of Milwaukee. I don't know.
25 years of age, a youngster.
Yeah. Bowls a lot of AMF Bolero. I know he bowls Monday nights in the WC Coleman 3+2 league up there. That league's been in existence for a long, long time. And oh my, how's that for a start?
You know, from an open to a strike, you got to be happy with that. And a great shot off his hand.
Yeah, let's see if we get a replay here, because that 6-8 was up there for sure. And something comes off the left side of the pin deck and takes out both pins.
And that one pin knocked over both pins, which you don't see too often.
Courtney, another player just like Andy. You're going to see both those players.
Dave Labinski, 23 years of age, the second youngest of our grouping today, with Andy being by far the youngest.
Yeah. David, let me tell you here, if you haven't seen power play out of him before, it's pretty special to watch, and that's just 10 straight back.
Yeah, he's high speed, high rev. Strength of his game is definitely playing, I would think, 12 or 13th board to the right, and that's kind of made to order in this environment, Phil.
Absolutely. I mean, he dominated in qualifying, averaging almost 250 during qualifying today, and then he had buys. Absolutely.
Let's see if Courtney here can get our first double of the match, and we know every shot critically important at this stage.
Yeah, Courtney, young man, I see him practicing a lot of AMF Bolero, always, there bowling, and he wanted to thank Roy Brent from Bolero for all the help he gives him with letting him practice. And another great shot by Courtney.
Yeah, and a huge double open up, and he's at 9-300, so we know this kid knows how to string him, Phil.
807 for a high series, and yeah, bowls whenever he can. He's not a young man to shy away from a little action bowling once the leagues are done as well.
Our second look in the game. You learn all these little tricks.
Yeah, I know he's had some good coaching with Sean Wachner down at UW Whitewater, and blowing on those tough college conditions. It's going to make it a little easier when you get on easier conditions, such as what he's seeing today. And scrambler by Dave.
Yeah, a little left of target at release, but his 20-plus mile-per-hour ball speed.
Great, stepping up here looking for his 3 in a row. Want to thank his mother Lydia, his father Rodney, for all the help they give him with his bowling.
Yeah, Courtney, he's kind of a young veteran here. He's began bowling at age 16, 25 now, so 9 years trying to master the sport. 1-800 to his credit.
Right up. You can play the outside of this pair if you play direct, but it just got a little quick with it out of his hand, I believe.
Yeah, like we kind of saw that he missed a little bit outside of his target this time, and the ball came in a little late behind the pocket.
And in the replay, just watch that lazy 4-pin.
Right, and you could see the deflection on the ball there. It definitely bounced a little bit left once it entered the pocket. Yeah, sometimes you can still get away with that, but not this time for Courtney. So, see what kind of spare game he's got.
Looks like he switched balls here. Go to something with a little less friction to get over that 7-pin. Well over at the line. A little lean to the left, but still covers it up.
Not too solid at the line. He's doing a little dance there, but got the job. Normal route to make the 2-8. And a lot of pros shoot that spare from the left side of the lane as well.
Well, first chance for somebody to take a big lead here if David can throw his 3 in a row. And that's just wide out of the hand.
Yeah, he'll want to take that one back, but at least the 10 didn't stand, Phil.
I think he was looking for his dad Mike's speed on that shot in order to get that one to come all the way back.
Yeah, his dad Mike Labinski used to bowl with him years ago, and definitely not a game similar to son David here.
No.
Mike, high rev, but definitely softer speed.
Much softer speed. I know Mike still bowls at Highland Lanes on Thursday nights in the league there, and Mike still has that love for the game after all these years. Watches both his sons bowl, and really is hoping that David brings home a nice check today. Buy some Christmas presents for him.
And the best way to spare on the crossover. Hitting just left of the head. Courtney, you say bowls out at Bolero?
Does a lot of bowling there. I've bowled on Wednesday nights there for a while with Mark Dempsey from Barbier's Italian Inn, and see Courtney there practicing or subbing all the time on Wednesdays. He bowls Mondays in the WC Coleman 2+3. That is probably the biggest league in the Milwaukee area right now. 36 teams of 5 bowlers, a scratch league, and a lot of history in that league as well.
And just a perfect shot, so he rebounds back in the striking train here. That's about as good as you can throw a ball, Phil.
No doubt. Almost leaves that 8-pin, gets the pin. I think that's the 3-pin that comes off the wall. Yep, comes back over, takes that 8-pin out.
That's how important it is to have lively sideboards. I mean, in some older establishments,
Especially in a match format like this, you're not just facing a single opponent. It's not head-to-head match play. There's 3 other bowlers out there you have to beat to get that top prize. So a pretty unique format we use once a year for this event, and it's always a good match. Always seems to come down in the 10th frame. Just power right out of David's hand.
boy, that's quick, Phil. That's easily 22 plus miles per hour, and just sucks the pins right off the deck.
Absolutely phenomenal. With a little change for the bowlers too, as the pattern broke down through 7, 8, 9 games of qualifying, depending on how many buys they got in the match play rounds. It's definitely a change to go back to what they originally started at today.
Right, and typically when they re-oil, perfect shot by Cortney, but not a perfect result. The pattern can start playing tighter and tighter each time they re-oil the pattern, and part of it is carry down. The other part is that the pattern just builds up a little differently down lane, and what were strikes early are 9 counts now.
Yep. And Cortney just needed to bring the angle of that ball down just a little bit, entered the pocket a little too hard, left that 6-pin. Looks like he's going to hook across the lane at it, take the scenic route.
Yeah, again, a little stick approach there, and that happens sometimes, Phil, even when it's not humid. What do you think it is?
So we'll see what David Labinski can do here. Working on a nice strike in frame number 4.
Last time on this lane, he had his lone errant shot. He pitched it well right of target. Not this time. Job well done. It looks like he moved in a little bit, Phil.
Yeah, kept that one nice and firm. And one advantage that David's going to have over maybe Andy and maybe Cortney is he can amp that speed up. I've seen Paul Blamer bowl in the past, and if Paul needs to throw rockets to the pocket, Paul can do it. So if it's a speed thing, David and Paul will have the advantage with amping up the speed. First place and fourth place out here today. First place $650, fourth place $200. That's just a little bit of change they're bowling for out there.
Cortney, I see a little Joey Koza in his game, with the backswing, the good low left shoulder at the release and strong release.
And is that head pin going to get back over to get the 7?
Not going to happen. And Joey Koza might have carried that, but Cortney did not at this point. And Joey's been on, I believe it was last year's show, wasn't it?
Joey was in the wild card last year for the Action Heating and Cooling Open. He had the same carry problems Kurt Preston had and got his way out of the wild card, but still a nice showing by Joe nonetheless.
Again, Cortney dropping that left shoulder, which is a good thing nowadays. Years back, they used to always say, don't drop your shoulder, don't drop your shoulder. Now the top coaches in the nation, Phil, will...
Strike here in the 6th frame.
Well, Dave has carried 4 out of 5 so far, so he does have probably the best look of the 4.
Just the amazing power through the shot and just scrambles that rack.
Just tomahawked that 5. The 5 was paralyzed, and then it got hit from behind.
Just an amazing shot with that. David Labinski maintains
goes away, and it goes quick.
Yeah, and in a 1-game match, and with a $450 difference between first and fourth place, even between first and second, it's a $325 difference. So a lot of money on the top today. And a great shot by Cortney.
Yeah, and he carries that messenger, but the 7-pin wasn't there to receive the message, Phil.
It bugged out of town already. It got smart. It didn't want to get hurt too bad.
Okay, so Cortney knows he's got his opening double has been his only string of strikes, we'll call it, since he hasn't had more than 1 in a row since. Andy working on a double. And he knows Dave right behind him.
David here needs a strike to stay in the lead. Pretty exciting action for early in the match so far.
Oh, definitely. And this is a big shot here. Dave knows he can't afford to tap since Andy is stringing.
Just powers through the bottom and slaps the 10.
6-pin did its job, and that's good roll, Phil.
Yeah, that's one shot that his dad, Mike Labinski, probably wouldn't be able to carry out with Mike's ball speed.
Well, in his youth.
In his youth, yeah. But
yeah, we were all a little better in our youth.
Able to throw strikes with you and your other 4 team members.
Yeah, and World Team Challenge, for those who don't remember, was a team event, 5-person team event, bowling on a sport-compliant condition, or tougher.
Yeah, there were some pretty brutal events out there, and that needs to get the 7 out, and that's not going to happen for Cortney.
No, and Cortney knows, if I don't make this, I'm done. In fact, even if he makes it, he might be mathematically eliminated, since Andy and Dave are stringing the strikes.
Yeah, it's coming down to a 2-horse race with our third and fourth bowlers, Andy and Dave. So you're a little unusual here. He's moving way to the right side of the lane to get this 3-7. It's got a chance. How about that?
Job well done, and kind of an unorthodox approach toward that conversion, but maybe he knows the right side of the lane has some friction, and why not use it?
Absolutely. What a great shot. He knows it coming back. Did you get that? Did you get that
I'm
little
bad. I'm bad. You saw it.
And if David strikes here, it could be 32 pins and pretty much, wow, who would have thought it could be almost match over at this point in time?
Well, maybe Dave thought that. You never know. Yeah, and that's about as pretty a picture as you can paint, Phil.
Just absolutely crushes it. Gets himself out to a 32-pin lead over his closest opponent.
So you're telling me, Paul, if a young 30-year-old hottie comes up to you and wants to, pursue things, you're just going to say, no. I much prefer the older women.
About that.
We'll just have a little fun with Paul there.
And
back to back. That's not the 210 like I was going to say, but 3-7.
Yep. And Cortney not happy right now. And, boy, he had a chance for fighting out for second place money. I mean, Dave pretty much has first place money locked up unless he goes open. Still a good difference between second and fourth. Second, 3 1/4, and fourth, 200.
Making this split, Phil, logically, 7-1, 10-1 for most good bowlers, right? So that's not an easy split.
No, doing it back to back is probably about 40-1.
So why is trying to make the second one so much more difficult after you made the first one?
I don't know. I can never remember making anything like. So if Andy would have struck in the 8th frame, Andy would have a 1-pin lead going into Dave's 9th frame, and Dave could have taken it back with a strike on his shot if he can do it.
Dave is on a 5-bagger, going for 6. Heave ho. Pins are gone. Pins are broken, I believe, Phil.
Unbelievable. Gets himself the half a dozen in a row.
Yeah, and he did what we mentioned to earlier in the match. Someone needed to take control of the match, and it might have just taken a little 4 or 5-bagger, and victory should be David's.
And other than Dave's errant shot in the third box, Cortney right here strikes out, gets an extra 25 in his pocket.
In fact, Deandra Asbeatty has an article in the New Bowlers Journal entitled "Just Grab It and Go," to try and develop or foster a free swing.
And a free thought in your mind, because the last thing you want to be doing when you're up on the approach is thinking about what you're going to do on the shot. 10 back.
First one down. Yeah, you're right. Ernie Schlegel said it best many years ago. If you think, you stink. So do all your thinking in the settee area. Once you step on the approach, just let it happen. Trust your instincts. Even if they're wrong, trust your instincts, and more often than not, good things will happen.
Absolutely. You see bowlers taking that little bit extra sometimes on the approach when they need a shot that counts, and more times than not, you see them fail at it.
You can see Cortney does whatever it takes to get loose. Wiggle the legs, wiggle the shoulders, get the tenseness out of the body. 4-step approach, solid at the line. He gets out of that finishing position pretty quickly, though.
Yeah, he does. He's got that, not only with the drop shoulder on the left, but he leans a little bit over to the left, and sometimes if the ball gets there a little quick, he gets a little off balance, but can't argue with the result on that shot.
No, I think he's in real good balance, Phil, through the release, but a millisecond after the release is when he's falling a little bit left.
Yeah. Well, this is a $25 ball here. Might not be a lot of money to some people, but I know it would be a lot of money to me if I was out there shooting it. I'd want to make sure I got 10 straight back on the shot.
Looks down at his hand and ball, kind of like Patrick Allen does.
Great shot out of his hand. Oh, my.
That's an OMG, Phil. Solid 9 that cost him a little bit of money, and he threw it probably as good as he can throw a bowling ball.
I bet you if you ask him right now, he would probably tell you that was his best shot of the match.
Without a doubt. Chopped the 5 right off the 9. This is where bowling's not always fair.
Not at all. Well,
and there comes the deserved.
Yeah, David just needs 4 pins on his first ball here. Actually, on both balls in the 10th frame to lock up this title, and I don't think we'll see anything less than 10 out of him here, the way he's been going.
Yep.
Oh, week 10.
Yeah, 4 long big steps, and you wonder how can he leave a week 10, because his rev rate easily over 400.
With
But you got a round ball hitting round objects, and weird things can happen sometimes.
Exactly. Sometimes it seems like the laws of physics get bent a little bit during the course of a night of bowling, and covers it nicely. He's going to take home that $650 first place prize from Action Heating and Cooling. I want to thank them again for their sponsorship. Look for flyers in your bowling center for the Action Heating and Cooling alternate shot doubles coming up on January 23rd, and we'll have the finals of that, of course, carried for you later on Time Warner Cable Sports. I want to thank our friends there.
Yeah, David struck at the right time in the middle of the match, and back-to-back 10 pins. Didn't matter.
Absolutely. That $650 first place check to Dave Labinski. He'll be our defending champ when we come back next year for the 2012 Action Heating and Cooling Open. Join us for more bowling on Time Warner Sports 32. I want to thank our friends down there for having us on the air.